Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a home day edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Veterans Orthopedic Clinic, Hoodco Roofing, hoodcoroofing.com. Restored Motion, restoredmotions.com, ProChargeEV, ProChargeEV.com. I will actually be at Brock in a little while. Going to get an MRI on my back, see if we can get down to some nitty gritty as to what are the root causes of a lot of my back pain. So curious to see what it says. Had a doctor recommend I do it, and I was like, all right, I'm in. See, the more information, the better. So I'll be over at Brock later today. I'm going to drop Drew off at school and go straight to Brock. Then busy work day. So, all right, y'all. We'll say some good mornings here. Got in the description there. LSU loses a wide receiver commit for 2024, Joseph Scone. I always look at decommits or the whole recruiting process in general. And if your school gets a commitment, then he's going to the Hall of Fame, right? If a recruit picks another school, well, he's overrated. If you have a commitment who decommits, then, well, he wasn't very good and we told him to leave. It's just generally how it goes with recruiting. So I tend to look more at the position group as a whole. And when I look at LSU's receiver room for next year, you're going to lose Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Kyron Lacey. You're going to lose your top three. I think there's a good chance Chris Hilton's back. And obviously you had a really good recruiting class this year with Shelton Sampson, Jaylen Brown, Kyle Parker. I remembered it. Kyle Parker. Kai Prion. You have the guys you have coming in next year, then you can always hit the portal. So I think they'll be fine. The other thing that is worth noting, I'm not sure if y'all saw this, but I'm going to make sure I get the name right. Draylon Miller, who is he's a top 100 player, depending on what service you look at, either a 4 or 5 star, but he's a top 100 player in the country. He's a wide receiver who decommitted from A&M yesterday. Draylon Miller was in Baton Rouge for the Auburn game on Saturday. So he comes to LSU for the Auburn game on Saturday. Monday, he decommits from A&M. And that coincides with LSU having a wide receiver commit that's been on board since July of 22, decommitting from LSU. You can kind of read between the lines. If you replace Stone with Miller, you're upgrading, as far as prospect, recruiting rankings, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's the case. But I think LSU is going to be good at receiver either way. Saints-Jags play tomorrow night. Injury report, keeping an eye on the Saints offensive lineman, obviously. Ramczyk out with a concussion. Pete's still limited with that groin injury. James Hurst missed practice as well yesterday. So see if you can get these guys turned around and ready to go for Thursday Night Football. But, man, that thing could look awful different for a line that hasn't been very good to begin with. And, it could look very different on Thursday Night Football. So we'll see. Then the other news, of course, Trevor Lawrence, limited with the knee. Wore big, bulky, one of those big offensive lineman metal knee braces on his left knee. Practice yesterday. It was just a walkthrough for Jacksonville. So anyway, we'll tomorrow's game day. So we'll see how it trends. Brian Kelly is on the SEC Coaches Teleconference this morning, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. So we'll get an update on preparation for Army from BK a little later this morning. All right, let's say some good mornings here. Appreciate y'all for being here. YouTube, please smash that like button and subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. If you would, please subscribe to the channel on Facebook. Please like the Matt Moscona page and post. This may be right. Okay, let's see. Sorry. One thing real quick, I'm going to pin. We'll get to questions. There it is. Sorry. Cutting. Okay. Good. All right, we'll say some good mornings here. My apologies there for that little delay. Today, just really quickly, today is St. Lillian Academy Give Day. They do it once a year. It's a one-day, 24-hour giving drive. So everybody, I think most of you probably know that St. Lillian is Drew's school, and it's a great resource for families with special needs kiddos. They do an amazing job, and I'm very grateful for St. Lillian and the blessing they've been for our family. And so whenever they ask me for help, I'll always help. So anyway, it's Give Day for St. Lillian, one day only. It's just a giving drive. So there's a link that I just pinned. If anyone has the means and is willing or able to give anything, that would be awesome. So if not, your continued love and support for Drew and for all those kiddos and families is awesome, and so much appreciated, sincerely. So, okay, let's say some good mornings here. Bradley and Graphia, Wendell Norman, Tim Gotro, Brad David, what's going on? Trivia Carter, James McKinney, Spurge, good morning. Joe Parker, good morning. Ransom Antoine, morning, Matt. Hearing and watching interviews from Saints players, I'm hearing some say indirectly they don't like the plays being called. What do you think? Well, the other part about that, Ransom Antoine, is, have you noticed how many players keep defending Pete Carmichael? Derek Carr, when he met with reporters yesterday, just openly said, like, I'll never blame a coach. Juwan Johnson on Twitter yesterday evening, for those that missed it, I'll read you directly his tweet. I don't like how the media is coming at Pete. I think it's whack. I mean, that's Juwan Johnson. You have players coming out defending Michael Thomas too, defending Pete Carmichael. So, I mean, I think it's a strange needle to thread where you, as a player, can really like your coach. But that doesn't mean that they're doing a great job. You can personally like him. You can like what they've done. You can even think they're really smart offensive or smart at what they do. It doesn't mean they're doing a great job. And you've got this growing sample size with Pete Carmichael as your OC that suggests he's not doing a good job. And for whatever reason, putting the right guys on the field, putting guys in position to succeed, putting together a game plan, calling plays during the game, whatever the reason, some or all of the above, he's not doing a good job, period. Brad David, I always enjoy the Scott Shanley interviews. He's a good listen. Yeah, man, Scott was great yesterday. If you missed Scott Shanley, I would highly recommend you go give it a listen, man. He's always good. Yesterday, he was just excellent. Talking about culture of the organization, being a veteran player like Cam Jordan, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, realizing your championship window is closing, probably feeling like you should have already had one. And I mean, it's things we talk about, but to hear it from a player's perspective, and Scott does such a good job explaining it. If you missed the Shanley interview yesterday, man, I highly, highly recommend you go give that a listen. Randall Alfred, good morning, Matt. If the Saints lose Thursday and look horrible on offense, do you think they fire Pete Carmichael? Nope. Dalton Barnett, morning, Matty. How many coaches is LSU still paying off? Most major coaches within first 3 years wondering how long the buyouts get stretched. I think Will Wade was fired for cause. They settled on Ogeron's, and his was a payout over the duration of his contract, which I don't remember how many years that was. I think that's it. Guy Brooks, good morning. Happy hump day. Juice Williams, absolutely love your insightful commentary, level-headed point of view. Thanks, Juice. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for watching and for listening when you can. Mr. Jones, good morning. Sorry for being late. All good, man. PTG Toasty, what's going on? Damian St. Pierre, good morning. Just made plans to see you guys at Don Juan's Saturday. All right, Damian, good looking out, dude. Looking forward to it, man. Hopefully it's a fun night. Should be. I mean, LSU should have no problem with the game. And we have a pretty good good turnout and fun night. Dale Broussard, what's up? Lowell Cormier, good morning. Any thoughts on getting a new head coach for the Saints? I have lots of thoughts on that, Dale. Or Lowell, excuse me. I have lots of thoughts. Thoughts that I've expressed now for more than a year. I'm for it. Bubba Smith, Charlie Cavell, Debbie Jenkins, Steve Scott. Good morning, Matt. Is this the first time Army has come to Baton Rouge? Yes, I could Google it, but trying to get my daughter ready to school and watch at the same time. Have a great day. LSU and Army have played once before. It was in 1931. And they played at West Point. So first time Army's coming to Baton Rouge, yes. Jason Horn, good morning. Dale Broussard, are you still buying Game Coin at these levels? Dale, I'm not buying Game Coin. My Game Coin bag is sufficient. Like, I don't need any more. I bought, you got to understand, like, I bought heavy, like, in the first 30 days. Like, I bought in at heavily at a price around, actually lower than where it is now. I mean, like, so my point is there's no need for me to continue increasing my bag, if that makes sense. But I would encourage everybody to make your own decisions about what you do. I will tell you that I buy crypto every day. I DCA, it's called dollar cost averaging, where you buy, like I have auto purchases set every single day. So that way I'm not like trying to guess or judge the market. I'm just always buying. And so I'm taking advantage of dips and so I buy every day. I have auto draft set up to where they just auto purchase every single day. And so there's some projects that I really like that I DCA. So I'm always buying. Kelly Gross, hey Dad, good morning. Lonnie Huval, good morning. We will be in the stadium Saturday. I'll be representing my son who's currently serving. Awesome. I'll be wearing my proud Army Dad shirt with my LSU shirt. Awesome. Very cool. Very, very cool. Brant Roban, good morning. Hoping the Tigers can stay injury-free this weekend, get a big enough lead, and see some of the backups play. I think you'll probably see that, Brant. Specifically, I want to see that on the defensive side of the ball, and definitely want to get Lance Hurd a lot of work. I want him to play the whole game. So he needs the reps. He needs to go play 4 quarters and have that endurance, continue to build. I think that's really important before you go to Tuscaloosa. So, PTG Toasty, good morning. Brad David, that's amazing that you said 50% of Fortune 500 from 2000 are now bankrupt. Out of business. Bankruptcy and out of business are different things. But yes, so I gave that stat yesterday. I love that statistic. Not that I love the statistic, I just, for what it means, just that it's indicative of how much the world's changed in 20 years. 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 are out of business today, which is pretty incredible when you consider it. The 500 biggest companies in the world, half of them are out of business, from 20 years ago. It's because they didn't adapt during the digital shift. So, I'm always thinking about that with respect to my career. It's like, you wonder why I'm on all these platforms? That's why. Because if all I did was radio, you ain't got to be a rocket scientist to see what's happening. So, excuse me. But I brought that up yesterday in relation to Dabo Sweeney. I'm not sure if you heard Dabo on his coach's show on Monday. Dabo made some comments and said, maybe we should lose a few games to lighten up the bandwagon a little bit. Get some of these so-called fans, off our bandwagon. It's like, you're saying you should lose games. You're saying you should ditch some of your fans. You're like, this is a guy who doesn't want to do NIL or transfer portal. Like 5 years ago, Clemson was the team that was challenging Alabama's supremacy. They'd won 2 national championships. They beat Alabama in the playoff. So, but it's crazy how quickly it can turn. And Dabo just is not in the portal or NIL, and their program is clearly falling behind. Larry Garner, Ryan Pike last weekend had a lot of recruits in Tiger Stadium. Do you think OCs and DCs take that into consideration when play calling, kind of like, hey, this could be you? No. I don't think they're calling a game for recruits. No, not at all. I don't think that's even in their mind. I think if you're a recruit, especially an offensive player, and you're in Tiger Stadium on Saturday, how could you not be excited about that? So, right. Barry Jocelyn, what's going on, Tiger Diver, Bailey C. I think Dennis Allen will be back next year. The Saints ownership is scared to let go of this era. It's so pitiful. They'd have to go 5-12. Well, Bailey C, this team could go 5-12. It wouldn't stun me. Now, there's enough winnable games against enough bad teams to where they may do what they did last year and go 7-10, 8-9, something like that. Anyway. Kobe and Dylan podcast, good morning. Barry, what's the story with Deuce? I guess you mean Deuce Chestnut. Don't know yet. Should get an update on that soon. You know the story. This guy was a 2-year starter at Syracuse, started every game. He comes to Baton Rouge, and he ain't playing. They didn't even take him on road trips. The last 2 games you traveled, you didn't even bring him. Jason Lostness, what's going on? Matt Wells, Draylon is getting JoJo's spot. Yes, of course. Read between the lines. But until it happens, whatever. But yes, you can read between the lines. Jacob Thompson, good morning. Yeah, Shay's the best. Shay is absolutely the best. Good morning, Matt. I like Gregory Clayton, but he struggles fielding punts. It showed this past weekend against Auburn. It shows every weekend. You don't even have to be a dynamic returner, but you have to be able to field the ball. And LSU consistently loses massive amounts of yardage and field position. Each of the last 2 games, your opponent has been punting out of their end zone and has pinned you deep because Greg Clayton didn't catch the ball. He let it bounce, took a huge hop, and then you added penalties. Against Missouri, they were punting out of their own end zone, and you started the drive at your 8. Against Auburn, punting out of their end zone, you started the drive at your 22. Both times the punt landed around midfield. You got to catch the ball, man. Yes, I'm with you. Hey, Rebecca Claire, good morning. Andy Whitaker, what did you think of the Saints last series on Sunday? What everybody else thought about it. Continuing to throw deep down the sideline. I don't get it. It was poor game management. It was poor clock management. It was bad play calling, and you got the result you got. Not surprisingly. I mean, look, Andy. You ain't got to be confused where I stand. I mean, that's just a further building the case of where I already stand, and I have stood. Like, Dennis Allen's not a good head coach. Pete Carmichael cannot be an OC on his own. Derek Carr is a mediocre quarterback. It's all these things. It's all these issues. Terry Walker, good morning. After Jaden gets his numbers, hopefully early in the game, should we expect to see Nussmeier and Collins touches at quarterback and other running backs to include Trey Holly get touches? I don't know that you'll see Trey Holly. I think there are veteran guys that have been patient. Noah Kane, obviously, Josh Williams, who have seen their roles diminish, if not altogether eliminated. So this is one of those games where you want to get your veteran guys those touches. Devin Kelly, good morning. Chris P, Anthony Cortello. Let's see, 2 more minutes, y'all. Let me go quickly here. Please smash that like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel. Do you think Pete C is being handcuffed by Dennis Allen on play calling? I do not. Zachary Hardy, it's still very early, but the talent in Louisiana for 2026 is pretty insane. 3 players in the top 6 nationally, 6 players in the top 60. Awesome, get them all. Connor O'Neill, good morning. Who would win the West if LSU and Ole Miss won out if Bama only lost to LSU? So you're saying if there was a 3-way tie with LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss, and everybody had beaten everybody, I would need to go look at the tiebreakers because you would all have a divisional loss as well. And it might be like your opponent's records. I know way down the line, it's like number of like the last tiebreaker is like number of touchdowns or margin to victory or something like that. I'll look that up though. All the tiebreakers are there, Connor. I just need to go look it up. Antron Hemingway, Matt Cepeda, good morning. Thoughts on Loomis saying the team is having growing pains? Oh God, growing pains with a bunch of old players. Let's see, would you openly bash your coach while he's still your coach, though? I get it. Weston Weaver, what's up? Vulture Mode, sorry, just got in. Who is the LSU decommit, and do you know why? Yeah, so we talked about that at the beginning of the show. Joseph Stone, wide receiver, who committed back in July of 2022. And it's very likely that there was a mutual parting of ways because you're probably going to get Draylon Miller, who decommitted from A&M yesterday. He was in Baton Rouge on Saturday for the LSU game. He decommitted from A&M yesterday. So you're going to get a top 100 national player, one of the top receivers in the country, and basically just take Stone's spot. All right, 8 o'clock. I got to get going. Brian Williams, Tiger Diver, appreciate y'all for being here. Daniel Holden, if I missed you, sorry. Kendall Jones, Taylor Hudson, what's going on? I need some Hudco up here in Charlotte. Would love to. Wish we could, man. One day. Cameron, what's going on? The closer. Yeah, that was the dryer. No, it wasn't the dryer. Forgive me. It was the washing machine. It was my workout clothes from this morning. All right, I got to get going. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll get you LSU Daily published like later this morning. I didn't have a chance to drop it in last night after the show, so my apologies. Get LSU Daily up, and then we'll have an AFR3. Y'all have a great day. Please give to St. Lillian if you can. It's St. Lillian Give Day. The link is pinned in the chat there, so on both Facebook and on YouTube. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you. Peace.